Hello everyone, I hope you're having a magically spooky day so far. In today's video, I wanted to show you how I created these celestial, iridescent, witchy Halloween decorations. Halloween is my favorite holiday, and to honor that, I wanted to create my own rendition of traditional Halloween decorations. The first thing that we're going to be making is the witch's wreath. I purchased this wreath from Michael's, pre-made, but these are actually quite easy to make, and there are quite a few videos on YouTube on how to create your own wreath if you have the materials. So since it's this brown color, I did want to spray paint it black, just to fit with my personal preferences. Of course, yours doesn't have to be black, it can be any color that you want, but I decided to go with the dark witchy aesthetic. I'm first starting out by spray painting the back. And in the meantime, I'm also spray painting my pumpkins for my pumpkin DIY. You're going to want to let these dry, and then you're going to spray paint the front. Make sure that you get all of the little crevices and cracks, and don't forget to spray paint the bottom of the pumpkins too, if you're doing the pumpkins as well. Now to decorate your wreath, you're going to need a hot glue gun and some wire cutters. And you're also going to need your supplies to decorate it with. So for me, this is some black fake flowers, some sparkly garlands that have bats on them. I found these at Michael's. And some copper wire, which is the most important thing because this is how you attach the garlands. Also some little black spiders I got from the dollar store. So to start out, I'm going to just unravel my garland, and I'm going to pre-cut some wire pieces so that I can have them on hand when I need them. Now I'm going to flip over my wreath, and I'm just going to start securing the garland with the little pre-cut wires and wrapping them to just make sure that they stick. Then you'll want to pull forward the decorative pieces, and you're literally just going to do this all the way around. It's super easy. Make sure that you also use the wire cutters to cut off any excess wires. And here I'm just pulling forward the bats and making sure that they look good and they're all placed neatly. Now I'm using this little extra garland that's sparkly and looks like twigs, and I'm just going to be doing the exact same thing. I'm wrapping the wire around them and situating them, securing them onto the wreath, making sure that they look nice and pretty. Here it is with all of the wire pieces in. Now what I'm doing is I'm popping out the little black flowers that I have here, and I'm just going to be super gluing them onto the wreath. This is super easy. Honestly, super glue is one of the most staple crafting supplies that you could possibly need. And they're really cheap. They're like $5. So if you don't have a hot glue gun, I totally recommend getting one because you can use them for literally everything. So with the flowers, I'm just kind of placing them around randomly. I wanted it to look kind of like, a dead wreath. But then when you look up close, you see these little black flowers and these hints of life almost. Now the last step I'm doing is I'm just putting some of my sparkly spiders in, because you can never have enough sparkle. And here is the finished product. Up next, we're making our pumpkins. I bought these pumpkins from Target, but you can buy them at most craft stores right now. I'm also going to need some rhinestones. Of course, if you know me, you know I need rhinestones for everything. And some super glue and a rhinestone tool. This is just makes it easier to bedazzle everything. So I'm just putting on my super glue onto the little spots where I want to put the rhinestones, and then I'm literally just picking up the rhinestones with a tool and placing them onto the pumpkin. This is super easy, almost goes without explanation. It is a little bit time consuming, so, while you're doing this, make sure that you have something to drink or snack on, or listen to a podcast or music or whatever. I kind of like it though. I think it's almost therapeutic. I get into a flow when I bedazzle things. And I'm also doing the same thing with the black one. I'm just using black rhinestones instead of the iridescent rhinestones. I love how the black one turned out. It kind of looks like a normal black pumpkin when you first look at it, but then up close it sparkles, and when it moves it's just dazzling. Really cool. The next pumpkin that we're going to make is the iridescent star one. So here I have some adhesive vinyl that I purchased online. I also am using some star cutouts just to use as a template for the star shapes. You'll need scissors and a pencil. So I'm just going to trace around my star cutout on the back of the vinyl, and I'm just going to basically fill the entire strip of vinyl. Now, of course, you don't have to do stars. You can do literally any shape you want. Just make sure that you kind of draw them out, because for me, at least, cutting out stars without having them drawn out would just be terribly difficult. Now you're just going to cut them out and create a little pile of all of your iridescent stars. This is how they look once they're cut out. Now you're going to peel back the adhesive, makes a sticker, and then there's also a protective film on the top, which you'll peel off as well. So just press it on really good, make sure that it gets into all of the crevices and everything, and then you're going to peel off the protective layer that's on top, and it'll just reveal like the most iridescent, magical looking star. Just pressing it on, making sure it looks good, and then you're literally just going to do the exact same thing with the rest of your stars. Also, my fingers look kind of crazy because I actually work in education, and I was teaching art, and I got food coloring all over my hands. So yeah, please disregard the, black fingernails and stuff. Here's what it looks like once you have them all pressed on. Make sure that you get them all into the creases. It looks so cool and shimmery and magical. Next up, we're going to be making our galaxy pumpkin. You're going to need acrylic paint. I like Liquitex Heavy Body. Some sponges. You'll also need small paintbrushes and a paper plate or some type of palette. And of course some rhinestones. I mean, obviously. That's a given at this point, right? So you're going to start out by putting your paint onto your plate. I'm using black and shades of blue, purple, and green, as well as some white to kind of lighten the paint colors. And then you're going to take a damp sponge, make sure that you have some water on hand, and I'm starting out by dipping it into the black just to create kind of a blendable base. And then I'm going straight in with the purple mixed with a little bit of white, and I'm just gonna pat it on. And what's really cool about the sponge is that it basically does the blending for you. So you're just gonna kind of go around and blend the colors together. Here I'm going with the blue, and then I use some green as well. And if you feel like it's getting too bright or anything, then you can go back in with a little bit of black, and it'll help blend it out as well. This is something that seems like it would be really hard, but honestly, this was super duper easy. I really think that anyone can make this galaxy pumpkin, and it's really fun too, as long as you're okay with getting your hands a little bit messy. So here's what it looks like once it's all blended out. Looks pretty good if I do say so myself. And I'm going to go in with some white paint and a very small paintbrush, and I'm going to just dot the little stars onto the pumpkin. This is quite time consuming, I'm not going to lie to you. There are faster methods. You can use the toothbrush method where you dip your toothbrush in some white paint, and then you use like a credit card or something to kind of splatter the paint onto the pumpkin. But I kind of like doing this. I don't know, I just think it's more controlled, and I know exactly where everything's going. And then the final step is to just put some rhinestones on to add that little bit of twinkle to the stars. Same exact thing that we did with the tiny pumpkins. I really love the stars and going stargazing because they remind me of the vastness of the universe and just how kind of small and insignificant a lot of things are, which in a way is comforting to me because if anything is going really poorly, then I can just kind of look at the stars and go, hey, it doesn't really matter. It'll all be fine in the end. Up next is the potion bottles. For all 3 potion bottles, you're going to need, of course, bottles, which can be purchased at Michael's or online. You'll also need some ribbon or thread. I chose black in this kind of iridescent opal color. Various charms, and of course some water. For the first bottle, you're going to need these glitter flakes, or you can use cut up iridescent cellophane. And you're just going to plop them right into the potion bottle. This is a little bit tricky. It does take some kind of effort and, forcing them in. But once you get them all in there, they look really cool. Then you're just going to add some water, and it'll really make the holographicness stand out and shine. Next one, we're going to use some cotton balls and some food coloring. I'm using purple and pink food coloring. And you're also going to need glitter, of course. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull apart our cotton balls, and we're going to put them into the bottle. You just want to make sure that you fill it probably about halfway up with cotton balls, and then you're going to use your purple food coloring and you're going to plop a couple drops in there. Next step is pouring in some water. It's immediately going to change the color to purple. And then you're just going to want to press it down with either the end of a paintbrush or a pencil or just something that you can use to get into the bottle. I decided to add some more cotton balls because, as you can see, it's not really full enough. So I'm adding some more. I'm just putting in some of my glitter glue right now and I'm mixing it in. And then I'm putting in my powdered glitter, which really makes it magical looking, and I'm mixing that into the cotton balls. Next step, you're going to add some more cotton balls, so you're going to try to fill it up the rest of the way. Make sure that you're pulling them apart as you're adding them into the bottle. You're going to lay them into the bottle the way that you'd like, and then go in with your food coloring. Just a couple drops for this. And then pour in your water, and this is kind of the magical part. Changes to pink. You want to fill up your bottle. Oops, spilled a little bit. No big deal. And you're just going to mix that color into the cotton balls, and you're going to try to want to blend it a bit with the purple. As you can see, the purple's coming up, but I don't want to press it too hard because otherwise it's just going to turn into a muddy mess. I'm now adding more glitter for the pink layer. The glitter just really makes it look so ethereal and magical. I love the effect that it gave. And it's not quite full enough, so I'm going to add some more cotton balls and water. But once you have all of the stuff in there and it's all blended together, it really just looks like a galaxy in a jar. It's beautiful. And this is also something that's really good to do with kids. This is actually a sensory bottle, so pretty cool. For our final bottle, you're going to need some corn syrup and some mica powder. I'm actually using eyeshadow pigment because that's what I had on hand. But mica powder can be bought at craft stores or online. Now you're going to fill up your bottle about halfway with your corn syrup. This just makes it more viscous and helps the glitter stay suspended in the bottle longer. And you're going to use some food coloring. I'm using purple because it's my favorite color. And then you're going to plop in your mica powder or your eyeshadow pigment. This is a sugar pill eyeshadow pigment. It's one of my favorites. It's called Ghosted. Now you're going to fill up your bottle the rest of the way with the water. And you're going to mix it up, shake it up, so that it's all blended together. And then you're going to end up with this really cool spirally potion. Now I created these labels on Canva. I'm going to try to include a link to the ones that I made so that you can use them if you'd like. And you're just going to cut them out. And then you're going to take some gloss Mod Podge. You're going to paint the back of the label with your paintbrush. And you're going to put it onto the bottle just like that. Make sure that it lays flat and give a nice coat over the top to make it shiny and more of a sticker. Make sure that you clean up the edges too. You don't really want any glue to be on the bottle itself, just on the label. And here is what it looks like when it's dry. Now we're going to go in with our last step, which is the ribbons. I'm using black ribbons for 2 of them. And you're just going to wrap it around the top of the bottle. Make sure that you hold it tight while you go so that it doesn't unravel itself. On the back, once you get to the bottom, you're going to tie a knot and then just plop your charm onto the front. And all I'm doing is tying a bow in the front. I'm doing a double bow. And I'm tying the charm into the bow so that it stays secured. Now just cut off the excess of the ribbon and then your bottle is done. Looks pretty cool. I love the Nebula Extract one. That's definitely my favorite potion bottle that I made. And then just repeat the process for the other 2. And here is the finished product. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in my next video. Stay magical, friends.